Alright, well, so here's how far I've gotten with my e-bike. I just installed the motor, so I've done all the mechanical stuff. So yeah, it was kind of a pain in the ass to install. I had so many little problems. Like, I had to change the clamp, so I use like some standard U clamps. And then they were too long, so I had to grind them all the way, almost all the way to the nut, because it was hitting the sprocket here. And then I kind of bent the bottom bracket retainer thing. I kind of bent because I stripped it a little bit, so it was hitting the freewheel sprocket on this guy. So, and then I had problems lining it up. And then I found out this wasn't tightened all the way. So I just tightened it by hand and then moved back to the proper place. So fortunately the chain lines up with the electric motor. And then I didn't know how to route the chain either. So I didn't know why all these bolts here were loose, because you have to take it off and you have to route it. So it goes around the crank sprocket, and it goes around the motor, and then it goes here. I guess this adds a little tension to it so it doesn't slip. And then this has like a special way it goes on. Like one of these spacers is longer than the other. It's a pain in the ass. I have to figure out everything. There's no manual for it. There's a couple pictures on the internet and it helped a lot. But well, I now got a 7-speed bike, because I only have 7 back here and 1 up front. And this has a freewheel sprocket, so when the motor's engaged, I guess it doesn't move the crank at the same time. So it's kind of a weird sensation of you're pedaling and you can hear that freewheeling sound, that click 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 click, and then you stop and the front one stops clicking and then the back one will start clicking. So it's kind of weird. But so there it is, the motor's mounted, and yeah, so it didn't fit the bottom suspension properly, so I had to bend it. And it didn't look so bent from the top, but from here it's bent a lot. I had to take out the kickstand because the kickstand will hit the motor. So now I just got a jack stand holding it up. So I got to find some other kind of kickstand. Maybe I think if I get the one that mounts on the arm here with clamps, that should work. I greased the crank up and I put everything back on. So basically the spindle for the axle for the bottom bracket is it's longer, so it can clear the motor, because the motor sticks out a whole lot. Yep, it has to clear out all this stuff too. But I'm pretty happy with it so far. And I just have to hook up the controller and the battery, and I have the batteries already. Uh-oh, things gonna fall. So I still got, now I have to hook up all the electrical stuff. I'm gonna hook up the twist throttle and the controller. It's really small. And then I got my LiPo charger here, and this is the battery that I'll be using. I guess for testing purposes, I will only use one battery first. Here it is. This is the battery I'm using. It's a Turnigy 5000 milliamp 6-cell LiPo battery. And yeah, this is the first time I've used. Well, I have some really small LiPo batteries in my helicopter, but this is a massive one. But for how much power is in this guy, it puts out a lot of power for relatively small size. You just gotta be careful charging it. That's why you gotta put it in like these fancy bags. So if you overcharge it, they explode basically. But there it is. That's the battery I'm gonna use. So basically, I have to change the connector on this guy to one of these. Oh, should be a lot of fun. Note is I had to buy one of these crank puller tools. It's made by Avenir. It's a pretty name brand bicycle part, and it cost me like $8, but it was totally worth it. I had to take the crank out, like I had to take the old cranks out, and then I had to put the new ones on, and then I had all that fitting stuff with the sprocket. So it definitely got my $8 worth out of it. And another thing was I had a hard time getting this. I mentioned it earlier about the bracket not fitting properly. But I was originally going to use this hole for the bracket and connect it to the frame, but the doggone the little gearbox that goes on the motor, it didn't clear the wheel. It was hitting the wheel, so I had to reclock the motor. I had to move it more forward, so or counterclockwise from the right side, so it wouldn't hit the wheel anymore. It's pretty close. It's like 1/4 inch clearance right there. So yeah, but it all clears. It all lines up.